the number one way to convey safety to your brain. When you're on a healing journey where you're shifting from fight or flight and you're trying to convey that there's nothing wrong, you often find things like, go out for a walk, be in nature, get some sunlight, do some grounding techniques, do some breathing exercises. What I often find is a lot of people try to take these things and then they get really frustrated. They don't feel safe. Their brain doesn't feel safe. They're constantly in this fight or flight response. And so in this video, I want to show you the number one way to convey safety to your brain. And if you do this one thing, you might not even need to do all these things like going for a walk in nature, breathing exercises, meditation. You can do these things for yourself, but it's not to get out of this fight or flight response. So let's get it started. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Shaan. We have an anxiety recovery program. We help them go back to living without having any of these symptoms, going back to living fully and freely. And the reason why I want to talk about how to convey safety in the brain is because when people are in this healing journey, when they're on this anxiety recovery journey, in the beginning, they always think there's something physically wrong, right? Because the symptoms are just so bizarre, so mysterious. It's just not normal. And then what happens is that people try a lot of things. They make sure that there's nothing medically wrong. And then they start realizing that this is related to their nervous system. This is related to the fight or flight response. And so naturally they start doing lifestyle adjustments. But when it doesn't work, it's easy to think, oh, well, I must be broken. Like my nervous system's always on this fight or flight mode. Like it's always turned on. That's not good. That's not healthy. There must be something else going on. But they're not doing this one thing. And this one thing is that if you want to convey safety to the brain, the only way to do that is by how you respond. How you respond to the symptoms. How do you respond to the sensations? If you're reacting in fear, I get why that makes sense logically, right? You're experiencing a symptom, so you're reacting. Why does your reaction have anything to do with the symptom coming, right? The symptom's here, right? If I'm feeling breathlessness, dizziness, whatever, I panic, who cares? I felt it first. And so what happens is that your response to your symptoms, your sensations, your discomfort validates the fight or flight activation system. Let's say your fight or flight mode is always on, right? And you're trying to convey safety to the brain. Well, when you feel the sensations and you react in panic, well, that validates the fight or flight response. It says, look, us going off, the fight or flight response going off at this moment was appropriate because look at the way Shaan responded, right? So we were right. So next time we're in a similar environment, we're going to do the same thing. In fact, Shaan's been reacting this way so much. Let's just stay on just for a bit because who knows, right? And here's the truth. When it comes to your fight or flight response, it doesn't know what's a real threat or what's not. It looks at you for that. It's always dynamic. As I was going through the recovery journey, I tried all these lifestyle adjustments and they weren't working. Like I wasn't feeling better. And so it was natural for me to think, oh, well, I'm not feeling better. I might have some weird issue going on. Like my fight or flight response is not turning off no matter what I do. I'm trying to relax, I can't relax. And it's not working. And I remember used to seeing all my friends who used to like live on the edge. And when it came to relaxation, they were able to relax just like this. And I stopped going out of my house. I stopped leaving my house. And yet I still wasn't feeling relaxed because I had this unsolvable problem. And I realized I was doing everything except the most important thing, which was I wasn't responding. And the reason why I wasn't responding is because logically, I didn't get it at the time. I didn't realize that my response dictates whether the symptom comes back or not. I have the digestive issues. Me not panicking is not going to bring the digestive issues to go away. It's not going to make the symptoms go away. So I'd rather just highlight that, yeah, I'm feeling discomfort. What I didn't realize was that was actually indirectly reinforcing the cycle. I was making the symptoms come back more and more because of that. Now, as I was responding, did my symptoms go away overnight? No. I was still experiencing symptoms. And on top of that, I had developed such a habit of panicking. It became such an instinctual reaction that unlearning that reaction by itself took some time. And this is why we guide people through the recovery journey, right? So many people are like, just give me the answer. Just tell me what to do. As if you just do this one thing once and it goes away, right? Recovery is so much about unlearning these habits, that you've developed and focusing on the habits that's conducive to your recovery, that's conducive to making these symptoms go away. But habits don't come and go overnight. They take time, right? It takes a while for something to be conscious, to become automatic, right? The habit. And so recovery is a lot to do with consciously choosing the right habits that serve you in the recovery journey and doing that so much that it becomes autopilot. Why is it that people can just live life and not struggle with anxiety? Or there's people out there that will have a panic attack, come out of it, and then they're fine. Like, they're fine. They don't need to figure this out. And then there's some people like myself who had their first panic attack and then ended up spiraling as a consequence, and then basically became agoraphobic because of it. And the difference is that, I had some unproductive habits that I didn't know at the time. And as I adjusted those habits, now I'm fine. And now the idea is that, okay, Shaan, what if you do get another panic attack? Shaan, what if your symptoms come back? I know how to respond. In fact, not only do I know how to respond, my response is automatic. I don't even have to think about it. Now I look at it and I see my own struggling days and I'm like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious why I was struggling. Look at the way I was reacting. Of course my anxiety was going to come. But at the time, it didn't make sense. At the time, I just didn't get it. But as I learned the habits, as I learned how to respond, as I focused on the recovery journey, as I learned more about what the recovery journey looks like, it became self-evident by itself, right? And now when we're guiding people, we can see things in such a longer view. It might feel like you're taking 2 steps back. But really, if you have somebody that's guiding you, they'll see that, it might feel like that, but really, this is going to catapult you to going even further, even climbing even higher, getting to the summit even quicker. If you want to go back and do these things, if you want to take ashwagandha, if you want to take magnesium, if you want to take all these supplements, if you want to do massages, if you want to do grounding techniques, if you want to go for walks in nature, you can do these things still. And in fact, I would say if you're learning how to respond, these things are much more effective. But you will often find, and what I often find as we're guiding people on the journey is, once they know how to respond, they don't even need to do this if they don't want to. If they do choose to do this, they do it because they enjoy it, right? Like I go for walks every day. It's my favorite part of the day. My favorite part of the day is going for a walk, having a cup of coffee, and just meditating, just being in nature. I love that. But I don't do that to regulate my nervous system. I don't do that to convey safety to my brain. I do that because I enjoy it. If you're doing these things, that's fine. And if you want to continue doing these things, that's okay too. But if you can focus on one thing, this thing, it will make such a difference in your recovery journey and your healing journey in general, which is how do you respond in these moments? So I hope this video helps. I hope it gave you some insight. If you want to know the principles of recovery, the more systematic approach of how to desensitize your nervous system, I'll put a link down below, and you can check it out right here. It's the 5 steps to overcoming your symptoms for good. So check it out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.